Unfortunately for the Franks as a kingdom and a people, once Charlemagne dies, they don't really do so hot. And there's a whole variety of reasons why they don't continue to maintain hegemony, why they aren't successful in ruling over such a huge territory. One of the reasons why is they're really never unified in the first place. Charlemagne has conquered a ton of people, but in that first generation of conquest, these people who speak different languages and are from different ethnicities and had different religions and really resent having lost in wars to the Franks aren't going to be stoked to continue to be part of a Frankish empire. They're threatened on all sorts of frontiers by other groups of people who want to expand into those areas. Muslims are still powerful to the south. To the east, Slavic people, Hungarian people are knocking at the door. This is the era where Vikings are sailing down from the north, and Vikings and Norsemen are starting to raid and then eventually settle into areas like France. At the same time, people who had been from other noble families or who had been important government officials, once Charlemagne's gone, they kind of want to do the same thing that his grandfather, or I guess great-grandfather Pepin had done, which is overthrow the king and make themselves powerful. So those folks tend to undermine the central government. At the same time, the people who he gives the crown to and who inherit it from them are really not that strong. Charlemagne's only surviving son is a guy who gets the nickname Louis the Pious. Charlemagne actually crowns him himself, which means that the authority comes from Charlemagne, not the Pope. Louis has 3 sons. He ends up dividing the empire among all 3 of them, which was Frankish tradition. And of course, what's going to happen? Those folks are going to erupt in civil war, and each of them is going to try and control the territory controlled by his brothers, or if one's not that weak, then somebody's going to come in. And what ends up happening is by really the late 800s, much of this has fallen apart, and the door is really open for continued invasion and a return to a much slower and less connected world before really the turn of the year about 1000 sets a course towards the rise of cities and a new type of Europe. So that's where we're going to leave it for this week. Much of what we covered in here helps you with some background information related to the sources that you're going to read for this week, and that themselves are going to be really important not only for the analytical response, but also for the final paper. So spend some time with those. Hit me up if you think I can help you out in any way, or if you want to set up an appointment and grind out those quizzes and that analytical response.